It's October 5th, 2001. I got a few people that contacted me and said, you know, I mean, of course a person likes it when they get contacted through YouTube and they send you a message like, right man, and, you know, they agree with you somewhat, but, you know, like I said in my videos, you know, why should I care whether people like or don't like my videos? Don't make comments to my video. Make them to the lady at White House. I mean, they ignore me, so you people should be ignoring me too. If you send me messages, it's because you're bored and you really want to do something with your life, but you don't know what it is, and you wish you could, and you know. As it is, my life is you know, just every morning it's depression. People think that, you know, where do I go when I'm not recording? You know, I just wander. You know, for years now, it's 3 years now that they burnt my house, and before that they followed me around, took my motorhomes, my cars, my boats. Not one person showed up that had any kind of real compassionate heart. I didn't want a free handout. I just wanted a place to put my stuff. Churches couldn't help me, either wouldn't or couldn't help me. I've made somehow, some ways, certain people have chosen not to like me, not even knowing me. I mean, you know, you can't go by what people say. People contradict themselves all the time, and that's what jails are for. Jails are to rehabilitate people. So if a person has a bad attitude, then you have to make a society that really creates good attitudes. But you can't do that because you've got idiots running the media, idiots running the businesses, they're all idiots. And what makes them idiots? The taxes they pay kill innocent men, women, and children. You people obviously don't believe in bad karma. And the reason that bad things happen to good people is because there's so many bad and uneducated and lack of the right kind of emotional intelligence people in the world. And I put that all in one sentence. Yeah, they're bad, emotionally compromised as far as intelligence goes. They don't know what compassion is, or they selectively pick their compassion to be only to certain people. But let me show you something. Oh, before I do that, I better get that now because I'll forget. Now, this is a book called Social Problems. It's been updated, and the last one was 2003. I just happened to run into it at the library, and the first page I opened to was something that's very interesting, something you'll really want to hear, because it tells you, it verifies from people who are experts in the field that I'm not kidding when I say the human race is evil, that they have problems. The United States is, according to this book, first in military technology, first in military experts, first in gross products, first in number of millionaires and billionaires, first in health technology, but yet we don't have real good health care, first in defense expenditures. But get this, after that you're dumped into 10th place in 8th grade science scores, which means that most of you people who listen to my video when I talk about quantum physics and what it's really all about and make comments and put me down are really stupid. You're just showing your stupidity when you make your negative comments to me. 11th in proportion of children in poverty, we're the 11th, okay? And this is within the decade of 2000. 16th in living standards among the poorest 1/5 of children. 17th in low birth weights. 18th in the gap between rich and poor children. 21st place in the 8th grade math scores. 23rd in infant mortality, and last in protecting our children against gun violence. According to this, more than 300, what was it? I think I found it in here. I'll tell you in a minute. Of how many children carry guns to school. Remember, I'm the guy who says I can stop all gun violence, yet no one's paying any attention to me. since I'm a legitimate presidential candidate, you know, no one's paying any attention to me. They don't care. That's really what it boils down to. You have a very sick social country. I'll find it in a minute. You know, my clock is ticking. I got to think about what I'm going to be saying. So anyway, so there you have it. You know, I'll just put it right up there so you can see what it is. Look at that. I mean, that's sick in itself. One of the first pages, the stuff that's highlighted here, is and I'll read this to you. In looking for objective social problems, we must also guard against the tendency to accept the definitions of social problems provided by those in power. Because the powerful, the agencies of government and business, provide the statistical data, like the jobless rate, which dropped miraculously a month before, such as crime rates, that may define social reality in a way that manipulates public opinion, thereby controlling behaviors that threaten the status quo and their power. And it talks about the Indians and the social injustice with them, and about the pushy blacks, and from standpoint of U.S. public opinion, disposing the Native Americans of their lands was not a social problem, but the Native Americans who resisted were. Here we go. Another reason for the traditional focus on the norm violation that is deviant in cultural defined and socially is culturally defined and socially labeled. The sociologist is vitally interested in the social and cultural progress that labels some acts and persons as deviant and others as normal. Now get this. This is really interesting. Trying to get these microphones to work right is unbelievable. Certain behaviors. There I go, off the grid here. My grief. Certain behaviors are labeled as social problems, whereas other activities, parenthesis, by which some other criteria would be a social problem, are not. People on welfare, for example, are generally considered to constitute a social problem, but slumlords are not. People who hear God talking to them are considered schizophrenic, but people who talk to God are believed perfectly sane. Murder is a social problem, but killing the enemy during wartime is rewarded with medals. A prostitute is punished, but the client is not. Well, that's a little different now. Now they're going after the clients too. Aliens entering the country illegally constitutes a social problem and are punished, but their U.S. employers are not. Well, that's been changing too, because this book is 2003. The important insight here is that the deviant is not a property inherent in certain forms of behavior. It is a property conferred upon these forms by the audiences which directly or indirectly witness them. The members of society, and the person highlighted this, especially the most powerful members, determine what is a social problem and what is not. Bilderberg Group, Trilateral Commission. Remember that. Powerful people play an important role in determining who gets negative labels and who does not, like the ones I've gotten. Because there is no absolute standard that informs citizens what is deviant and what is not. Our definition of deviance depends on what behaviors the law singles out for punishment, because the law is an instrument of those in power. Acts that are labeled deviant are so labeled because they conflict with the interest of those in power. Thus, to comprehend the labeling process, we must understand not only the norms and the values of society, but also what interest groups hold the power. That was quoted by Quinney in 1970. it goes on talking to, about, the social problems and what's wrong with the country, and that the 135 children carry guns to school every day, if you count the whole country. I find that number kind of a little unbelievable, but, who knows. Just this morning, there's a restaurant down here who I won't even bother to mention their name. They call themselves a vegetarian restaurant, but they really aren't. Their food is all gobby. It pretty much is bland all the time. They say they know about health, but they really don't. I know more about health issues than they do. I know more about health, how would I say, consultations. Doctors were sending their patients to me. And yet today, this person walked up to me and started harassing me. And I wrote the person's license number down. And the person started just talking and talking. We have cameras, and I have a witness here that will say that you threatened me. That's interesting, since the witness is an employee of yours in your business, and if they don't side with you, they could lose their job. So see, the people in this world have a mentality that is so crooked and evil that, you don't know what to expect from someone. They could look perfectly like a millionaire or billionaire. They could be dressed so perfect and be driving a perfectly brand new car, but that doesn't mean that they're beautiful inside. Had one lady here, and that's it I'm going to mention about that, because they're not worth mentioning. These people are very, very sick and don't deserve any more mention than what they get from the people that they boss around and push around. Another lady, I guess it's a lady, calls herself Faith Butel. In other words, the word faith with the word beautiful kind of put together. And left me a message saying, you should leave the country and blah, 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 and you could never defer me to your life. And I go, why would I want to defer anybody to my life or defer you in any way? I don't care about you. I hate everyone equally because everyone has equally hated me. How? By not giving me money. Since you all owe me money for the damages that you have done to me in your collective United States of America. I don't have to go to court. You're all guilty, every last one of you. I shouldn't be homeless. The last house I was in was set on fire. The fire department was responsible for that. So was building and safety. So was the people who called and started that complaint process. You have an evil system. And it only protects those who are able to protect themselves with the money they're forced to have to work to make, to pay the slumlords. To me, I don't care if your apartment, high-rise building, is filled with people that are nothing but middle class. That guy is still a slumlord because he's a slumlord in his heart, in his mind, and no matter how much money these people give to charity, they're just trying to get attention to show how great they are. Well, like Christ said, verily they have their reward. Okay? People will think, oh, that person's rich, but they give to charity, and that's a good person, and Obama's good, and Romney's good because he's a Mormon and he goes to church, and Obama's good because he goes to church. That doesn't prove a person's good. Actions prove a person is good or not. And the history that person leaves behind them proves that they're good or not, or that they're civilized. Oh, that's the word that the beautiful person, Jackie Beautiful, I guess is how she put her name together. And why I would mention her, because I told her, why don't you go to all of my, if it's a her or a him, why don't you go to all of my YouTubes and make your comments to the idiot moron White House, to the Congress, to the Senate, to your state legislatures, to all your friends and neighbors, to the people who even care to hear what your opinion is. Most people don't care about what my opinion is because they just want to see blood and gore or nudity, or mention of nudity, or almost nudity on YouTube, because that's what gets millions of views. You don't care. You don't care what happens to other people because they're not related to you. If I'd gone to rent a business warehouse and the person was my relative, I'd have a better chance through nepotism to get into that place than I would if I'm a perfect stranger. If I'm a perfect stranger, I have to pay a year's advance of insurance for the lease. Then I have to pay double 2 months in advance for the lease to start. I mean, and then I have to follow all these unbelievable, most of them unreasonable rules and regulations that they have, and my research is constantly threatened by any of that. Yeah, to this person that left that message, go call the White House and leave those messages. I would love to leave this country with. If you've missed obviously, to make a comment like that, you've missed a lot of my past messages. I would have loved to have left with all my possessions, my buses, my cars, my boats, my motor, everything I worked so hard for 30 years. Yeah, I would have loved to have met someone, a billionaire, who would have said, here, Ches, we'll take it to Long Beach, load it all up, and goodbye. Yeah, I would have left immediately. But no, you people, your country wants to torture people. They want to torture poor children. They want to torture and torture and torture. You want to make people wait for your lousy Obama health care, which is nothing but an empty promise, 2014. It's all bull crap. It doesn't take that long to set up a health care program. It certainly wouldn't take that long to do socialized medicine overnight. So here I go with another hour of videoing, and nobody's going to care. I don't even know why. I guess I'm bored, and that's why I do it. Because I'm bored. Because I can't do my research. Every house or place I've ever lived at, I did my research, and when I did my research, somebody somewhere started creating problems for me. I don't know why that follows me around. I've had some psychics say that some kind of negative, invisible being has attached itself to me. I don't believe in that. You know what I believe? I believe the government is doing it. I believe the government is now able to do it directly and able to do it through other people. And these people that have been thorns in my side, who have damaged me, deserve to be all brought up in full public, stripped nude, and then put on a boat in Long Beach and dropped off on some island in the Pacific, and then told that they can pray to God to make me wake up 16 years old tomorrow morning, because that's the only way that they're going to get off that island after doing all the damage that they've done to me. And that's not counting the damage that you've done to yourselves. If you believe in that you have a spirit and you've paid taxes to the government, you've killed children. I don't care what your excuse is. You can say that you've talked to God directly, and God has said that God will forgive you, that God will pardon you. I wouldn't take that chance if I were you. Now that you've done it, you don't have anything to lose. You're going to face whatever it is when you die, except me, of course. I haven't never paid any taxes, and I chose a life of poverty like this because, and I've had most of my trouble because of my poverty, because I chose this life. And it isn't worth living in a world full of people that don't know what it's like to be destroyed. You only know what it's like to be destroyed when there's an earthquake or a tornado or a hurricane, or there's a big fire through the valley here and everybody loses their homes. You all deserve it. What else can I say? You don't care. You don't care that the rest of my life is going to be spent wandering like this with no help. My teeth all broken. I'll get dental sepsis. One of my organs will fail eventually from the infections I have going in my mouth, and I'll die. And you like to torture people too. You know, there can't be a Dr. Kevorkian out there somewhere where I can just get lethally injected and die and just get it over with rather than die slowly. That's illegal. You can't do that in the United States. We want to see you suffer. We want to see you homeless. We want to see you die slowly. That's what you're about. You really don't care. None of you do.